Well, in the last class, we have started to learn about variables, right? We have learned almost all the points that was required. Now, let me go and give a quick recap. So in the yesterday's session, this is what we learned. We talked about the variables, and today I'll create another notebook. This is the one which we yesterday learned. We wrote our first code, and then we made sure that we give the proper keywords and case sensitive. And also we were able to focus on the variables. Variables are placeholders, store it and use it for further purpose. It can be, I mean, it is case sensitive. It should have a single word. All the checks we have done, right? Now, based on all this, now we are actually trying to go into the next one. Okay, so now I'll just try to create another notebook. So every day I'll try to use one notebook. Okay, so here I'll take it as a second class. The date is 7th. Okay, now let's work on a few of the things. Okay, whenever, let's say we join the class, each one says good morning. Now imagine I'm wishing each and everyone, like, let's say print good morning. Okay, and I'll wish it for Kiran. So Kiran is one of the students, so I'm wishing him now. Okay, so good morning, Kiran. Right now, another person comes and he again wishes. So I'll say that, let's say Anand. Okay, so another person comes. This time I'll say Rajiv. So whatever names I'm giving on the screen, right? They're all my friends. Okay, so have each one of them. I have one story behind the success. So whenever time comes, I'll tell you that. Uh, let's say we have Kiran, Anand, and Rajiv. Okay. Now, let's say another person comes. So let's just like that. We have 50 people in this batch. Okay. We have 50 people in this batch. All 50 people. Do you think I can keep on wishing you like this? Now, that's the first biggest challenge which I have. Okay. Now, this is one problem. Now, I'll tell you what is another problem. This is a problem number one. If someone comes and if they keep on wishing you good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, I have to do n number of times, right? Now, the second thing is A equal to 9, I'll give. B equal to 2, I'll give. C equal to A plus B, I'll give. And then I'll go and say print of C. Now, I've added two numbers. I've added two numbers, right? And I'm able to get the result. Now, uh, do you think it's going to be same? No, definitely some people will test it on different numbers. So A equal to 88, B equal to 12, C equal to A plus B, and print of C. Now, I mean, though the 9 and 2 has been assigned to A and B, now it will be assigned to 88 and 12. So now if I write C equal to A plus B, I'll get this. Okay. Now, with these two scenarios, one different challenge which I have is, let's say A equal to 14, B equal to 06, C equal to A plus B, print of C. Now, three different examples and four different wishing. So with these two scenarios, I am facing one challenge. What is that?
Name and numbers.
Sorry?
Name and numbers. You're repeating the numbers.
No, that's what is happening here.
The code is not dynamic.
Hard code.
Repetitive work.
If I want to do this for 100 times and I have to write 100 times, right? So being a
Correct.
Python person, like knowing a coding language, this is not the one which I'm expecting. If I want to wish for, four people, this is not the one which I do, right? So if I want to add the multiple numbers, this is not the one which I'm preferring because I have to keep on writing this, which is going to be a time killing process, right? Now, in order to get that into a very simple one, let me use some small functions. So today we are going to learn something about functions. Okay. When I say functions, it's we're going to start it with the small examples. Then later part of the course, we will implement what we do in the projects. First 5 days or the initial few days, what we are learning, it's all basics. You may not expect that you will be doing in the real time. So if you ask me, will I go and write this code in the real time? No. Will I go and write this code in the real time? No. It's all about learning the basics. Okay. Now, what I will do, first I'll create a function. So let's see what is this function. Let's see what is this function. Okay. In order to tell the Python, boss, this is what is the function. I have to always start with the keyword called def. Actually, the actual purpose, the actual way of defining is define function name. Now, this is how it should be. Okay, this is how it should be. If I want to define a function, I need to tell someone that, hey, I'm defining something. I'm defining a function. So I need to tell them define. But as we know that Python is one of the laziest programming language. It is not expecting the complete keyword. If you write a complete keyword, maybe they may not understand. So we have to write something called def. So now if I use def becomes a keyword. Because it is turning to be a green color, it becomes like a keyword. Now, anything followed by def, everyone has their name in this, surroundings, right? You take anyone will have name. Everything has a name, so your function also should have a name. So your function is being given with one name, and let's say that that function I'll give the name as greetings. I'll give the name as greetings, right? So in this, one thing which is only changing is, okay, in the print statement 2, 3, 4, 5, you can see that only the name is changing. Only the name is changing. There is nothing else that is getting changed, right? So in order to do that, what I'll do is only the name is changing. So what I will do for this function, let me go and send the name. Let me go and send the name. Okay, for the first initial 2-3 days, just follow what I'm saying. Don't ask me the question why, because everything is a syntax and protocol bounded. You cannot write as if you like it. Okay, it's all programming languages. The only disadvantage of programming languages, you have to follow what they say, right? It's not about what you say they will follow. No, programming language, they also already have a steps. They already have a protocol that is designed. You have to follow that. So first few days, don't ask me why. First, I will write a define. In the define, I'll be giving the name of the function and followed by name. You know why I'm sending name? Because I know that only the name is changing, nothing else. Okay, next. I will go and write one colon and come down here. Here, I am going to write a print statement. Here I'm going to write a print statement. I'll say, hello, good morning, good morning. Okay. Then I will simply go and write one comma. Rather than writing Kiran, Anand, Rajiv, Karthik, I will simply go and write it as the name. That's all. That's all. See now, line number 2, line number 3, line number 4, line number 5. I've written 5 print statements. I've written 5 print statements, but here I have written only one print statement and I am running in the line number 10. So what I've written, define function name, and in that I've written only one name. So whose name I will call? Is it Kiran or is it Karthik or is it Anand? Well, whatever you name pass, that is what I'm going to call. Now, how to call is very simple. Just write greeting, just write greetings, and you pass the name. Let's say I pass the name as Ashwini. See, good morning, Ashwini. Now, let's say I will pass Anand. Let's say Anand. Good morning, Anand. So I've written only once. But what is happening in the line number 12 and 13? I am accessing it. Let's say I create it with, see, good morning, Tarun. Now, this is where your functions play a major role. This looks very simple. Even I can say it as 0.001% of the complexity that what we will be using in the real time. But it is always good to start from your basics and scratch. What I've done, I'm trying to make you understand what is this function now first. Okay, I'm explaining you what is this function now first. What is its usability first? Only then you can get into the understanding of the topic. So what I'll do, I'll go and define what is this function. I will simply say write some logic and reuse it as many times as possible. Your wish. You can even use it 100 times. I'm least bothered. So how do you get to know it's a function? You have to start with the keyword def. Def means define. Okay, it's a define, D-E-F-I-N-E, define function name. But Python is the laziest language, so it doesn't give the full words. So this says that diff is enough. So diff is actually helping us to know that it's a function, and followed by one I'll give that. Actually, I will use it here. So print good hello good morning. I've written only once. Even if you write it 1,000 times, you whatever the name you pass, you will get it. Now this is what is a function, and as said, you write it once, you read it as many times as possible. Okay, now this one is fixed, right? Let's see how to fix this part. 1 2 3, this 3 part. Okay, example, same thing. Okay, what I will do, addition, define addition. Okay, define addition. This is a function. Diff is actually a function. So function name is nothing but addition. Now let me go and give a comma b. I'll send two parameters, and then I'll simply say c equal to a plus b, and I'll go and say print of c. That's all. That's all. Okay, so what I've done, I've written the addition logic only once. I've written the additional logic only once. With this additional logic only once, I can go and execute as many times as possible. So addition of 3 comma 4, I'll be getting 7. Addition of 7 comma 4, 6 comma 4, I'll get 10. And addition of 88 comma 12, I'll be getting 100. So it is all about calling that function. And this is how I have again rewritten the logic. Whatever I've written for 5 to 6 times, the complete code, sending the values, rewriting the logic again and again and again, I have made this to be very simple. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's good.
Yes.
In the recent times, I was just seeing that I mean a lot of things is viral. So one thing which I wanted to tell is I keep hearing this, so beautiful, so elegant, just looking like a wow. Have you heard this?
Yes, yes.
Where have you heard this?
In Reels.
Right, doesn't it look like a wow? Yes.
Yes.
Right. Now what I've done here, well, I'm making my work easier. I keep saying this again and again. Data engineering is a Mount Everest. To reach there, you have to make your path easier. Why are you struggling in coding? Why are you writing all the big codes? Let's make life easier. That is why I'm using functions now. With the functions, I will write it one times and I will access it as many times as possible. Okay. Now, let's go into the second one. This is a basic function only. Okay. So this is a basic function only. Now, if I want to understand how to write the addition of two numbers, okay, let's do it in our Java. Let's see how you will get it. Okay. Addition of two numbers in Java. Please give me full code. Let's see what is the code it gives you. Now, line number 1, line number 2, line number 3, line number 4, line number 5, line number 6, line number 7, and line number 8, including the brackets. Okay. Carefully observe. I'll tell you what is all this extra things that has been added to a Java code. So we will not go and research what they have written. First thing I'll tell is, I really don't like Java code because of the brackets. Okay, because of the brackets. I'm least, I mean, I don't want to write brackets at all. But here, in order to do one simple addition, they've used two brackets. They've used two brackets, right? Two brackets opening, two brackets closing. Totally 4 brackets they have done. To add itself, I'm looking for two numbers. Why you need 4 brackets? So I'm not a good fan of brackets. Don't want to add brackets. Now that's the first point about Java. And to add the addition of two numbers, I don't know why are you bringing all this string args, what is this args, what is a static, what is this public, I really don't know. And I don't know why are you declaring that variable before using, right? So that is one thing. Wherever you see integer, 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 not required. And then finally for printing, I don't know what you're printing here, like system dot out dot. This is completely a complex code, right? This is completely a complex code. But if I compare with our code is just 3 lines. The good thing about Python, and Python being one of my favorite language, because I can avoid writing the brackets. I can avoid writing the brackets. Now that's a good thing first. And if I want to avoid brackets, there is something which I need to follow. There's something which I need to follow. That is nothing but indentation. That is nothing but indentation. So here, the reason why they have put bracket is bracket tells us where to start, what is the logic that is getting started. So bracket tells us where's to start the code, what is the logic that is getting started. But in my case, I don't want to write the brackets. I don't want to write the brackets. In that case, how do you identify, okay, this is where the logic is going to start. Now, this is where we are going to write the code. It's all about indentation. Now, what is indentation? I'll tell you. What is indentation? I'll tell you. Example, define multiplication, and I'm passing the parameter a comma b. And if I write colon means something I'm going to write next. Okay, so please start observing carefully how I'm writing. So define is the name of the function. Multiplication define is saying that it's a function. Multiplication is the name of the function, and then a comma b is the parameters. Then I will give something called colon. Colon means I'm telling them I'm going to write a logic. The moment I enter it, it is showing where I need to write it. It is saying where I need to write it. So I'll say C equal to A star B. Then I will enter. Again, it is showing where I have to write it. So I started with here, but it is telling me you have to write here. Now, if I go and run this, now if I call this multiplication and I give 5 comma 6, I usually get 5 into 6, 30. But if I go and write it like this, I will get an indentation error. I'll get an indentation error. What is this indentation? Indentation means it will tell you it's a block. So you are avoiding the brackets here. So instead of writing the brackets, I have to maintain a proper spacing. Spacing is nothing but indentation. So your Python comes with an indentation. Without indentation, your Python will throw a message called expected intended block. It is an exception that it will throw. Always you have to maintain a indentation. So indentation means it will tell you where you need to write the code. Okay, for example, I go here, I enter it. It is telling you have to start the logic from this cursor. You cannot start from the start. You have to go to that cursor. If you write it from this cursor place, then only I will think like, okay, you are writing some logic here. So that indentation you have to figure out, and you need not worry about it because the system tells you where you need to start. The system tells you where you need to start. So we have to start in this place. Okay, and if I put enter, it will also tell you where you need to start. So please go and start here. Now it will work. Now it will work. Right? Now this is called indentation. So entire of your Python, please remember that you cannot write wherever you want. Okay, see, if you want to gain something, you have to lose something. Nothing comes for free. Here, what I've lost the concept of brackets. But what I've gained, you have to be more conscious in the indentation. Right? So that's a right example, right? If you want to gain something, you have to lose something. So here I wanted to get rid of all the brackets. Yes, absolutely. I was able to do that. But what I've included here, I've started using like a block by block. How do you differentiate it's a block? With a proper spacing and proper indentation. Okay. Now, this is about function. This is about function. Now, let's make it even more neat with a second case. Okay. Now, a equal to 38. A equal to 38. Okay. Listen carefully. I'm writing a new condition now. If a equal to 38, I'll write one logic. If A is greater or equal to 35, colon. Okay, now it is showing where I need to write. I'll say print the student is pass. The student is passed. Okay, now else print the student is failed. Now I will run this. Now it is clearly telling the student is passed. The reason I have given A equal to 38 and I'm checking if that A 38 is greater than 35. In that case, you print this, else you print this. Now, if I give somewhere around 29, if I give around 29, so 29 is not greater than 35. So obviously the student will be failed. The obviously student will be failed. Now I have to check for another person. Okay, I have to check for another person. So I cannot give again B equal to 97. And again, I cannot write this code here. I cannot go and write this code here. I cannot make this B and I cannot check for each and every student, right? This is not the one which I'm looking for. Now, the reason why I'm making it even better is I can write it once, I can access it many times. So this is what a simple if condition. Again, I'm saying if you're using a if condition, you need not even write a brackets. You need not even write a brackets. Okay. Now, the same code I'll ask in our Java how to get it. Okay. Let's see what it gives. Again, it started with all this. Okay. Comparatively, this time I gave a just adding two numbers. For two numbers itself, two open brackets, two close brackets. Okay. Now, to get the student marks and check out whether he has passed or failed, how many brackets?
Three.
Three or four?
Four.
4.
Four open brackets, four close brackets. Do you all agree?
Yeah.
A simple check whether student has passed or failed. For simple check, 8 brackets. 8 brackets. And your if clause itself, just look about the if condition. If marks is greater than 35, the student is pass. Else, the student is fail. This is what is a condition, right? Forget about all this. This is what is condition. Even for this, I don't know why you people have added brackets. For if condition itself, for positive, one open and one close. For the else condition, again open and close. Well, this is why life is so challenging for us. But here, nothing, no brackets, no brackets. You simply go and maintain the indentation. So if you maintain the indentation, automatically it will think that, okay, this is equivalent to this one. This is equivalent to this one. This is equivalent to this one. And this is equivalent to this one. This is equivalent to this one. Like this, the system will assume itself and it will start making our requirement to execute it. You need not give all these brackets. So there for Java, we have given the brackets here. We can avoid it. That's the main objective here, right? And even when I'm writing it, make sure that the indentation is maintained. Okay, so this is working, right? If A equal to greater than 35, it's working. Now let's take another student. Let's take another student. Let's say 66. Now I will go and write this logic here. I'll go and write this logic here. For time being, I'll copy paste it, but you don't do copy paste. Now if C is greater than 35, it is actually the student is passed, else the student is failed. Okay, now if I go and run this, the student is passed. Okay, now if I go and give 33, it says that student is failed. So this is beautiful. Okay, but I need not give any brackets as such. All good. So far, so good. But the real challenge is how many times you will write it. How many times you will write it? You have checked for this student, you have checked for this student, you have checked for this student, you have checked for this student. How many times you will write it? Well, nothing to worry. I already know how I can rewrite it. Example DEF. Okay, before that, if I don't maintain the indentation, it will throw error. Okay, so Python means indentation only. Python means indentation. So usually there is in English we call something called synonyms. We call something called synonyms. What is synonyms?
Same meaning.
Same meaning, right? It's the same meaning. So The other name of Python, I'll simply call it as synonyms only. Why? Because indentation is important. Indentation, Python, both are related to each other. If you're writing a Python, indentation is important. What is this indentation? It's a proper spacing between each statement so that it will get to know that what is the next code that you are writing. Okay, so I will write it like this one, and this, okay, sorry, this one, and I'll write it like this. Now it will work. Now it will work. See, you write it in after 2-3 lines, I'm least bothered. You write it like this, I'm least bothered. Okay, I'll still work. I'm not looking this intermediate space. That intermediate space is not called indentation. The indentation means where you need to start writing the code. That is important. In between you write n number of lines, I'm least bothered, because I am not interested in this space. I am interested in this space. I am interested in this space. That is where you need to keep an eye. If that space is not maintained, you will be getting an indentation error. It's not about the space between the lines. It's about where you start. Okay. Now, with all this, let's go and let's go and improvise this code now. So what I'll do, define, and I will say student results, and I will pass the parameter. I'll pass the parameter called A. Okay, after that, I'll come back here, and if A is greater or equal to 35, okay, print the student is passed. Okay, now this is else here. Okay, else means it's opposite for that if. Now I'll give print of the student is failed. The student is failed, and that's all. Now I will go and execute this. No, I mean, indentation is proper, right? For this, I have to start here, so that's an indentation. For this, I have to start here, that's an indentation. And for this, I have to start here, that's an indentation. Now if I go and run student marks of 74, I'll get the results. Again, I'll pass another number 33, I'll get the student is failed. Again, I'll pass the number 75 or 70, I'll be getting. So this is where I have made use of two things. I already know what this if condition can do, but I don't want to write it just like that. I just wanted to put it in a function so that I can access it in number of times. So I've simply put this if condition within the function, making my work even more easier. Now, this is one thing which you have to remember. Even if I ask you in your sleep, you need to tell me that Python is all about maintaining indentation. Next thing is, if you observe in the line number 35, inside that, if you see, for define also I have written colon. For if also I've written colon. For else also I've written colon. That means you write any conditions, or you write any logic, or you write any function name. You're telling that, oh, I'm going to start the logic. In order to tell them that what is the logic, you have to write that colon. So this colon is mandatory for all of your logic. So if I don't write this, it will throw error. It is telling invalid syntax after 35. So after 35, it is looking for one in the invalid syntax. That means I have to write this colon. Now, if I write, it is actually showing at the else position. At the else position, it is telling invalid. That means you have to write the colon. So this is something which you have to maintain. So after define also I've written colon. After if also I've written. After else also I've written. This is how we need to maintain the code syntax. See, that is why I'm telling you, right? For the first 2 days, don't ask me the question why. The reason why cannot be answered at this point of time, because everything comes with the syntax. Why I should write colon? I don't have an answer. It's a syntax. Why should I write an indentation? Why should I give a space? Well, it's a syntax. I'm avoiding few things from the main programming language or the other programming languages where I have to maintain with a semicolon, where I have to maintain brackets, all this. But here I can make it more readable and clear. And that is why this programming language is called a high-level programming language. By seeing this itself, one can clearly identify what we are doing. With this only, we can clearly identify what we are doing. Is it clear so far? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yes.
let's improvise this. Looks like a very simple, right? So always we have to start from the step one. Let's do that. But I'll put it in a different way. Now, listen carefully. If A is greater than A is less than 35, I have to write a colon, enter, print, the student is failed. Okay, student is failed. Now I have to write a else, right? I have to write a else. So usually if any programming language, if you see, this is what else will be. This is what else will be. Okay. So any programming language, if you say if or else if, and finally else, and then that will be the condition. Okay. This is what your any programming language, it will be there. Okay. For example, let me show here. Let's see a simple code. See how it looks like. So I've taken 75. So if you see that first I'm taking score equal to greater than 90. If score is greater than 90, A grade. Else if it is greater than 80, grade B. Else if 70, else if 60, else if 50, finally else. Last condition, I don't have condition. See, if this is not there, this is not there, this is not there, this is not there, this is not there. At last, it's an end condition only, the other condition. So they are not writing if there, they have written only else. So if this will happen, or else this, or else this, or else this, or else this, or else this. So this is a typical programming language in Java. But as we know in Python, your Python is the laziest code. What we do, so instead of else if, they have cut shortened to called elif. Elif. Elif is nothing but else if. This always comes with a shortcuts. This always comes with a shortcuts. So let's see what is this elif. So elif, if A is greater than or equal to 35 and A is less than or equal to 80, in that case, I will print them as the student is passed, average student. Okay. Now, 35, right? Now, again, I'll write elif A is greater than or equal to 80 and A is less than 90. In that case, I will print as the student is passed. And this time I'll say that first class student, right? So rather than writing else if, I have removed this SE and I've made the one word together, which is called elif. Elif. In Python, it's not else if, it's called elif. In Python, it's not else if, it's called elif. In Java, it was else if. Okay. So now I'm writing this elif. Now finally, last condition is the right, which is nothing but else. Because if this is not the case, if this is not the case, that means what is the only option available? Students who are above 90. So I will call it as print as the student is topper. So I need not write above 90. Even if you write like this, A is greater than or equal to 90, it's correct. It's correct. But I would not do it. Why? Because it's just the last condition, right? You have handled everything. So only the last condition is there. So now if I write it, the student is failed because somewhere I would have given A equal to some number. So let me rerun this. Now A equal to 90 I will give. If I go and write, it says that the student is topper. If I give the 85, it says that the student is first class student. If I put something around 55, it says that the student is average student. And if I write something called less than 33, I will get the student is to be failed. But all this, it's not the good idea to write it just like that. What if I will put it in a function? So how to put a function? Define student results. I'll pass the A. I'll write colon. Entire thing I'll copy here. But while copying, don't copy like this. It will not work. It's an indentation problem because after you end here, you have to start from here only. You have to start from here. And after this, you cannot start right away like this. You have to put it like this. So indentation becomes a major role here. So please make sure that you properly. Now you may ask me, I started if, else if at the border of the line. But here I've given some indentation. Why? It's because of this function. So indentation depends on multiple things. So even if I write after multiple things, if I write, if conditions may also come in the somewhere in the front. So your indentation is not just like the first space. It depends on the code. So here I have written define. So that is why the indentation has been shifted by one tab. After that, this has been shifted by two tabs. So this is one tab space. So one tab space, two tab space. Here you may just think one tab space. It's all because I'm starting with if. But here I'm starting with def. So that one tab gets keep on shifting to your right side. Please remember this. That's how you write it. The good thing is no more brackets. Are we good?
Yes.
Everyone?
Yeah, yes.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now let's make it even better. Let's make it even better. Okay. How do you test this? How do you test this? I just need to write this in the new line and pass the value. 85 student results is not defined. That means I did not run this. I did not run this. So you have to run only once. So if it's like open bracket and close bracket, if there is no number, that means I would have skipped that cell to run. So let me run that first. Now let me run that first. Now if I go and execute, it will work. So first I have to run this function. Only if I run this function, I'll be able to accessible. So if I put 85, instead of that, if I put 35, if I put 32, the student is failed. If I put 40, the student is average student. If I put 80, the student is first class. If I put 99, the student is topper. So all the conditions are getting passed. All the conditions are getting passed, but I am actually giving the uh, I'm actually giving the number in the hard coded value. Okay, so I want some a bit of inputs that has to take from the user. So I have to go and get the marks from the user. So rather than writing line number 56, the way I will write is first I'll write the print. So this application I'm giving to my teacher. Okay, my teacher can enter the students' marks and they can see what is the result. So I'll give this application to my teacher. So I will enter the students' marks. So enter the student marks. I'll give the first line and immediately I will do A equal to this. A is there, right? This A I'm passing 99. 99 will go and sit here. This 99 will check whether it is less than 99, less than 35. Is 99 greater than 35? Is 99 greater than 80? That is a condition I'll do, right? So I'll simply say that you please accept the input from user. Okay. And it's a number, right? What you enter is a number. So please make sure that you say that integer of input. Okay. Then you call this function and instead of passing 99, you pass it as A. Now let's see what happens. Like line number 56, what I've done, I have hard coded here. Now I will ask the users because my teacher can enter any number and check. Now if I go and run this, it will ask you enter the student's marks. Now you give 95. For 95, it will say the student is topper. Now you rerun again. Enter the student's marks. How it is coming? Because I've written in the print statement. So print statement, enter the student marks, it's coming. Now why this box is coming? Because the second line is accepting inputs from the end users. You're all end users. If I give this application to any teacher, they will enter the marks like 35 or 34. It will say that the student is failed. Again, I run. Again, it will show enter the student marks. You give 95. It says that the student is topper. So A equal to input of int of input. That means you're accepting the input from the end users. So based on that value, whatever you enter, right? Whatever you enter, right? Let's say I enter 45. This 45 will go and sit in the A. That A will be called in this function. What is this function? Results, student results. It will go here. This 45 will come here. And based on the 45, is 45 less than 35? Is 45 greater than 35? Is 45 greater than 80? Based on this, the results will be displayed. The results will be displayed. It's running.
Yes, sir. Here one doubt is there actually. As you said, Python is a dynamically typed program, right? No need to give any very in data types, right? Here we are giving the inputs, right?
Where we are giving
Integer,
inputs. I
integer,
mean,
integer.
integer is whatever you're giving, right? I'm making sure that it is integer. Okay, it's not a dynamic typecasting here. This is not a dynamic typecasting. It's basically what you give. See, you can give anything, right? So I'm making sure that it is integer. This is not related to data types. I'll be covering more on the data types. For now, just think that this input is something which is accepting the input from the users. That 35 or 45 will go and sit here. Based on that, your function will execute.
That means without integer also it will work, right?
Without integer, it will work in the sense you are giving the integer value, right? So I'll tell you what will happen if I don't give integer. This is I'm accepting as input, right? So if I enter something, so it is actually considering by default as str. So whatever value I'm giving, right, it is considering as str. So str means string. So everything will, they have some default data types, right? So this has been considered as a, since you are entering anything that a user enters, it is considering as a string. And that is why it is saying this greater symbol is not supported for the str. So that is why I have to write integer. Because users can enter anything, I will make sure that what you enter is a number. This is not a casting, or this is not about data types here. Whatever you enter here, I'm making sure that it is an integer. I'll tell you what is all this integer string in the next class when we discuss about data types. For this time being, just think that this is the way that you have to accept the inputs from the users. Is it clear?
Yeah, yeah. And one more thing, it is the line by line, it is executed right. Functional features, right? It seems like functional feature of Python, right?
It executes line by line. First, this line
Yeah,
will be executed. Then it
yeah,
will go to this line. Then it is calling a function. It will go here again. So in the function, everything will be executed sequentially.
yeah. As you said, Python will support functional and OOPS concept, right? In the initial classes. Yeah.
Yes.
It seems like functional feature, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, with all this, with all these learnings, with all these learnings, okay, let's go and build our one small project. One small project. Okay. This small project, which I will try to do is, I'll open a new notebook and I'll say what I work is, I will work with a mini calculator. Let's build one calculator today. Okay, let's build one calculator today. So this is a one calculator I will build. So how to build one calculator, we will see. First, I will go and write define add. You send the parameter a comma b, and you write c equal to a plus b, print of c. Now this is the addition of two numbers. Okay, now if I write ADD of 7 comma 2, I'll get 10. But this doesn't looks good for me. So I will write it in a proper format. Okay, what I'll write is I'll put it in quotes, the results of two numbers for the results of two numbers, okay, is C. Is C. Now if I run this, so the results of two numbers is 10, right? So it's good. Now I want to do for subtraction. Very easy. Define sub a comma b, c equal to a minus b, print the results, the subtraction of two numbers is equal to c. Now if I run this, this is for addition. I got the addition. And if I run the subtraction, and if I write sub subtraction of 7 comma 3, I'll get 4. So the addition of two numbers also I got, the subtraction of two numbers also I got. Okay. Now, carefully observe. All this, I will write it in the same cell. Control Z. This is one function. This is one function. So this is another function. This is another function. MUL. MUL stands for multiplication. Okay, next I will write division. So for each and every logic, I am actually writing the calculation. This one division, div, and I'll say divide. Okay, all good now. Now I'll enter this. Now all 4 functions I have written in one block. Now let's go and execute. I want to execute subtraction. What should I do? Sub 8, 2. I got it. The subtraction of two numbers is 6. Now I want to multiply. MUL, multiply. So this MUL 8, 2 will actually go and call this MUL function. In the MUL functions, 8 will go and sit in this place. 2 will go and sit in this place. So 8 into 2 will be calculated. And if I run this, I will be getting 16 because I'll be printing the C here. But while printing, I make sure that I'll come with some content. So I can choose, right? I can choose division as well. So division 8, 2, it will call this function. In the function, 8 will go and sit here. 2 will go and sit here. And if I go and divide 8, 2, the division is 4. So all good so far, so good. Now, what I will do, I told I will be implementing a calculator, but this is not a calculator. This is simply a 4 functions. One is used for calculating addition, subtraction, multiple, division. Right? Now, how to make it better? First, I will enter. This is actual logic. Print. Enter the first element. I'll take the inputs from user. So A equal to input of int of input. Now what will happen? Whatever the users is entering, that will go and sit in the A. Okay, next one. Print. Enter the second element. Whatever I'm learned, I'm actually making use of it. I have learned define. I have learned input. Now I'm making use of it. That will go and sit in the B. So you may ask me now, why you have not added indentation here? So this is indentation is not required unless and until I write any function or condition, indentation is not required. So okay, so it should be input and okay. So what will happen? This input will go and sit here. This input will go and sit here, and I will also say print the next one. Enter the operation which you want to do. What is the operation I want to do? The operations are add, subtract, divide, multiply. Choose one among this. Enter the operation. So the operation also I will store it in one variable. I'll call operation equal to input of this. For this, you don't need any integer. Why? Because this I'm entering number. But here they will enter either add or subtract or multiply or division. They'll write that only. So I will make sure that I will save it as only input and I'll store it as operation. Okay. Now, if I go and execute this now, it will ask the first element 25. If I ask it will ask the second element 14. It will ask the operation add. But after that, nothing is happening because until here I have done it. Now, in the operation, you will have either add or subtract or division or multiply. Now, you have to just go and write. The if conditions. If operation equal to, if it is giving add, then colon. Now, indentation comes. In that case, you please call the add function a comma b. You call this. See, a and b have already written. Depending on the operation, you call that function. So now addition function will be called. Next. Wow. Elif operation equal to subtraction. Which function I need to call? Sub of a comma b. Okay, next. Elif operation equal to multiply. Which function I need to call? Multiplication of a comma b. And last, I can simply write else you please call division a comma b. Okay, now let's see what happens. See what happens. I run this, enter the first element 15, enter the second element 14, enter the operation add, the addition of two numbers is 29. See, next I'll rerun it, enter the first element 32, second element 12, enter the operation subtraction, the subtraction of two numbers is 20. 32 minus 12, 20. Again, I will do, enter the first element 35, enter the second element 12, enter the operation multiplication. The multiplication of two numbers is 408. If you multiply this and this, you'll get it. So this is one simple calculator. What I've done in the first cell is I have written 4 functions: add, subtract, multiply, and division, which we already learned with the help of define. Now, here what I'm trying, I'm actually, see, print all the print statements, but it will show here. That's the only purpose. So I'm saying that print the first element, enter the second element. So for that, I'm accepting the inputs and I'm storing in A comma B and operation. So A will store the first element, B will store the second element, and then I will store the operation. So operation also I'll give, whether it's add or subtract. So with this, if it is add, you have to call this function. If it is subtraction, that means if they are entering subtraction, you call this subtraction function. If it's multiplication, you call this multiplication function. Else you call the division function. A simple mini calculator is implemented. What I did, first I learned about define function. I have made use of it. Next, I learned about if condition. That also I made use of it. And also I made use of accepting the parameters, which is from user. Okay, see how simple it is. How simple it is. Okay, if I want the same code in Java, I need to implement calculator in Java, which accepts two numbers and also accepts the operation to be done. Please give me complete code. Going on, still going on. Maybe they've added some exception, but you see, a simple calculator, see it, 1 2 3 4 5, minimum 20 lines it is there. But rather than doing all this, just write 4 functions, call the 4 functions. Is it clear,
Yes.
everyone?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sir, I have a question. In first block, we have defined all the variables, right? We have defined the numbers in function. So second part code also, can we include it in first part?
Yeah, you can do that. All see, it's just only cell, that's all. You can write everything into a single only. This also
Okay.
will work. Okay, I'm making it easier because it's easy to read it. That's it. So 15 addition, you'll get it. I've written everything in a single block now. But make sure that indentation is maintained. For this is an indentation. And this is again a new function, so no indentation required. But here, if you're giving this one, for this indentation is not required because I'm not doing any functionality. I'm accepting the inputs, but this is indentation. So those type of things, if you can handle, everything can be written in single cell.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks for the clarity.
Actually, sir, hello.
Yes, yes.
Sir, in line 17, if you go to line 17, I have a doubt. So while doing the operation, sorry, line number 16 and 18, I guess, 16 and 18. For doing all the operations, we are, yes, in the line 18, we are doing that C equal to A plus B and A minus B and A into B and C equal to and divided by B. And if you see while using the some other form, we are just calling the function. That's it. Calling add or we are not performing any operations, right? May I know the reason?
I'll tell you the flow. First, I'm defining all this. Okay, I'm defining all this. It's addition, subtraction, everything I'm defining. When I say define, I'm actually writing the actual logic here. What needs to be done? What needs to be done? Then this part of the code will execute. It will accept the input, store it here. It will accept the input, store it here. It will accept the operation, it will store here. Then depending on the operation what you give, whether you give addition or subtraction or multiplication, I'm just calling. No, again, why I have to write the logic here? If I call this, if I call division, that division logic will go and call there, right? So this is where the logic will get executed, right? That is why I'm given just the function name. So what we did initially also, when we wrote some functions, we actually, I'm writing the function here, then I'm calling here, right? So here I'm not writing logic. Why? It will just go back to that control. That is the same logic here I'm also writing. If I call add, the control will go to the add function.
Got it, sir.
I think, sir, it is C is not required to declare, right? Directly we can A plus B, we can give the print statement, right? That is also possible to
That is
reduce the
also
code.
fine. Yes.
Yeah. And one more thing, sir, we have given the multiplication, right? Someone, if someone give MULL, double L he given, it will directly go to the else part, right? Like division, it will perform the division, right?
Yeah, if you're not giving add, if you're not giving subtract, if you're not giving multiplication, it will go to division.
Yeah, if someone give NULL, mistaken with the given NULL, it will do the operation like division, right?
Yes. Yes, that handling we have to do it. Like in terms of the actual word, if it's not happening, we have to do it in a error handling. As of now, if you're not giving any of the spellings, it will not work. For example, let's try this. Now I've given the 15, right? Then I'll give 5. Then I'll give add. This word is not there. So if I enter now, it is giving the division. So we need to make it even more better. This is a simple calculator with as lot of errors. Even though you have given add, why it is giving the division? Because I have entered the word which was not present in this one among the 4.
Yeah.
So those exception handling and all will come in the later part.
Okay.
Are we good? On the day 2 itself, you have completed writing one calculator logic. Is it easy? Is it easy? Yes.
We
Yeah.
can do
Yes, sir.
actually
Yes.
this also, right? I mean, directly in the if class we can mention these things, right? So that the code length might get reduced.
There are multiple ways to do it. Since I've teached you functions, I've teached you if conditions, I'm using both. You can write it any way. Answers matters. Coding is each one will have their own skill of writing it. I have made use of if conditions and define. You can write it in your own way, but make sure that you get the answer correctly. Okay. Yesterday we just have seen the introduction. Today we have completed one simple calculator itself. Right? Such a simple language, but if you don't practice, if you don't understand what is this DEF, if you don't understand indentation, Python is the most difficult subject for you. If you understand, it's easy. If you don't understand, it's difficult. Okay, so with that, we'll stop here. We'll continue in the next class. Yesterday we learned about variables. Today we have learned about using the function as well as if condition. Slowly we will be seeing how to learn more of the concepts in Python. Okay, and just another information which I wanted to add for the batches. Today your 5 free classes is completed. We started to learn about Python Thursday, Friday, and then today is the third class. So in the third class, we have seen this introduction, installation, and yesterday variables, and today it's this functions. Okay, so we will learn few more things. So people who want to get registered, please get registered because you will be allowed to attend only first 5 free classes. After that, you'll not be allowed. So please make sure that if you're getting the concepts, if you're understanding, please join the course. Don't rush it towards the end time. You can always take a decision anytime, but after 5 free classes, you will not be allowed. This is for the people who have joined newly for Python. People who have been attending from SQL, ignore this. This is not for you.
Santosh, one small doubt. I just want to clarify it. So we are giving if operation equal double equal to odd. May I know the reason why we are entering double?
I'll tell you, which comes in the following classes. We will be seeing the assignment operator. We'll be checking the equality conditions. Everything we'll tell you. That's what I said, right? For first couple of days, you will have a lot of questions. Slowly, we are going topic by topic. Today, my main objective was to build one calculator. I have built it. I have used define. I have used if clauses. So again, why I have to do double equal to, why I have to use single equal to, that is a separate class which will come as a Python operators. If you see in the syllabus, there will be a separate topic called Python operators. We'll stop here. We'll continue in the next class. Thank you.